If you guys have been following along, you know I'm kind of on this whole thing of organization and trying to basically get all the stuff that's in this room somehow organized in a meaningful way. So we've made some good progress. I think we started with the with maybe the plastic bins, and got a lot of stuff in there. I got those on the shelves and organized and labeled, and then we went to this shelf build here with the plastic boxes on the wall, everything labeled. We went through all that. After that, I think it's maybe not the right order, but something like this. We did the utility cart, the sound cart, and got that all decked out. And then the last thing was this here, the ammo box cart with the plywood and the rolling casters. And that's all good. That's a lot of storage, and it gets a lot of the job done. But there's still one thing left. Okay, it's this area. This area, this is not working. It's really the last section that's just a complete and total mess. I mean, it's got a little bit of all kinds of things in here. It's got tools, toolbox. We've got photo equipment, drum hardware, camera gear, rigging, light modifiers, battery charging station. That was another studio build. Check that one out. And then just various things like luggage. So it's kind of all over the place. And the thing about this space here is I bought this shelving here for the drums. This is all my drum sets and things. And then it's got the storage up here with the plastic bins. And then this space that's left over, it's really hard to buy something off the shelf that will fit this space exactly. And I think I would like to leave a part of this open in order to stash some of these folding chairs and folding tables that I use sometimes. Maybe not, we'll see. But I want something that fits here and basically goes up to the top of this, relatively speaking, the shelving that's already here. And so that comes down to we're gonna have to build something. We could build it all out of just construction grade pine, 2x4s, things like this. But I think I have a better idea, because the thing about it is that I would like to be able to adjust the shelves. I would like for the shelving to be adjustable in case I want to change some things up, which happens a lot. And also the other thing is it needs to be very sturdy, because though I can say the one thing that all of this stuff has in common is that it's all heavy. The toolbox is heavy. The batteries are heavy. The drum hardware is heavy. The camera gear and light modifiers, somewhat heavy enough that it can't just be any old shelving from some big box store or something like that. It needs to be able to hold all this stuff. So I've got a plan. I've got these 6 foot, these are 6 feet, 5 by 8, 5/8 by 11 threaded rods, 5/8 by 11 threaded rods. And so the plan is we're gonna cut some plywood to the size here that I want. We're gonna drill 5/8 holes into the plywood. We've got jam nuts and washers for the threaded rods, and we can just put as many shelves or as few as we want and adjust them however we see fit, whatever makes sense. So that's the plan. We're cutting our shelves to be 24 by 24 inches square. Cut your shelves to fit the space you need. Mark out the holes for the legs 2 inches in from the sides of each corner. Clamp the shelves together and drill through all the shelves except for the top. Save the top for last. Drill the top shelf halfway without going through. Sand rough edges. Give a little bit of thought about where you want to start with your shelves, because you want to have the threaded rod and then you want to have a washer like so, and then the shelf and shelf here, and then another washer, and then another nut here. So it's a little fiddly. So the way that I think I want to do it is, we know that the top shelf is going to be easy because that's the one that we just didn't drill all the way through on the shelf. So it's basically just going to match up with the top here and sink in place. What you want to try to do is to minimize as much of the having to redo it and reposition them as possible. So I know that I want a clearance of 15 or 16 inches off of the floor for the bottom shelf, because I know that what I want to go under this is this Pelican rolling case, and 16-inch clearance will give me enough of that. And I want to maximize as much shelf space as I can on all the others. So I've gone ahead and, I'm not sure if you can see it here, probably not, but I've marked out just with a Sharpie 16 inches here. And so that's going to be the bottom shelf, but I'm not going to start with that one. So then I know that I want the second to the bottom shelf here. That's the one I'm going to start with. So the way that we're going to do it is, I put that one on first and got it up to here. And then we will add our washer here. And then the shelving will drop down here for our middle shelf. Then we will lay this down and bring our bottom shelf down here, put that in place, then stand it back up, then work from the top down to get our next shelf, and then we're basically done. And you want to leave it kind of loose so that we're going to be able to get the top shelf in place and leave a little bit of play there so it's not too rigid. That's the plan anyway. We'll see. And the other thing, and this is actually kind of important, I think, because this was a mistake that I made on the first shelving, that the first set of these that I made for the turntable, which I talked about in another video, another one of these studio builds. I built that in Astoria, Queens, when we were living in Astoria, Queens, outside on the sidewalk and in the stairwell of the apartment building. And I drilled the holes for the legs just the size of the 5/8 drill bit, basically. And it was not fun trying to get all the shelving on here. So do yourself a favor. This is the second tip, and I would say this is probably one of the important ones. Do yourself a favor and drill the holes substantially larger than the threaded rod, just to make it easy, because it's a real pain if you don't do that. And the washers take up so much space, and you can put so much tension on the nuts that the shelves aren't going anywhere. They're not going to be flopping around. So just make it easy on yourself and drill the holes larger than you think you need to make it easy. Okay. Okay, I think that about does it for this one. This might be the last studio builds for a minute. I mean, for one thing, I think I have pretty much everything built that I currently have in mind to build. The one thing about that would be, you may notice that the studio is back to the way it used to be. After, if you were following along, that whole 4 or 5 part studio revamp business, it's all back like it was. So the thing about that was, it just wasn't working out. It just wasn't, it didn't have a flow to it like I wanted. There were a lot of great things. I love the standing desk. I liked working, but then there were still other times when I really did need a desk to sit down to be able to do stuff. And the way that all this was worked out in the other side of the room, it just, I don't know, it didn't have a flow. It didn't feel right. And then there was also the issue of like then needing a lot of new stuff, adapters, different cable lengths, all kinds of things, and maybe just some new gear, which I just didn't really want to spend any money on. I think maybe I didn't fully commit to the whole revamp because of those issues. And then also the idea was to get rid of a lot of stuff. What I would really love to do, and you know, you guys might have a completely different idea about it, but I really don't have a lot of love for all the analog equipment and all the analog connections and all the stuff. It's cool, and it's fun. And there is definitely a fun factor to it, but there's also like a hassle factor to it as well, and a slowing you down factor of like getting things done. And so I would really just like to have it all in the box on a laptop and have it really simple, because all that I really care about at the end of the day is what comes out of the speakers. and however that's made is neither here nor there to me, really. As long as I'm happy with the results, and I can work just in the box and be completely happy with that. I do have some kind of attachments to certain, like my modular stuff and my electrons. I like those things. But I think there's an easier way to do it that would free up a lot of space. And I have noticed that the more gear I have, the less I really get done and finished. And the more it's just like really simple and just on the laptop, just working straight through, works out better for me. And I'm more than happy with the results of that. And I was just watching these videos with a great mastering engineer, Glenn Schick, I think is his name. And anyway, his ideas about, like, you know, gear and analog gear, I feel the same way about that. I don't have any attachment to it, except for the few things that I have. Anyway, so I might end up trying to do something else with all this. But this might be the last studio build for a minute anyway, because I have my other agenda of getting 6 albums done in the course of this year, and that's coming along, but it takes all the extra time that I have to make that happen. So I'm just going to focus on that, I believe. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and if you found this content useful, consider joining me over at my Patreon. Your support there is most appreciated and helps me to continue making this content. But really, more so than that, if you can pick up an album, they're coming out on cassette. But even more than that, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the bell for notification. That is really what helps the channel grow and gets everything out there, I think. That's what they say. So anyway, once again, thanks for watching.